fucking go! You're listening to Bread and Circuses.
Was like the mob media for one is the entire world populated. Like everybody's on Twitter. Fucking the UK is on Twitter. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
unfortunately.
With Caleb Salvatore.
Well, they can't go to the comedy shows because there's a 2-drink minimum, and you can't mix the Percocet you've been stealing from work with liquor.
And Nick Kohler.
There literally be people in the fucking 80s that didn't know that nutting in a girl would make her pregnant.
No one's asked that question. What did those families do to provoke Alex Jones like that?
You know what'll solve all of these racial police protests? A Pepsi.
What the fuck is up, friends? Welcome back to Bread and Circuses. It's been a little bit. Nick was on vacation. We were talking about getting together while he was in town. Things just didn't manifest. That's what happens when you travel with children. So
it definitely does, man.
But we're here now.
Yes, we basically skipped a week, which you know. And
fuck off. Find something better to do if you're that mad.
Yeah, right.
if you're that truly that mad that we missed the podcast, fuck off. I don't really care. Like that's the fucking gas is like $18 a gallon, and the transportation secretary is on a 27-month paternity leave, so Nick can take a week off to fucking visit his family in Nebraska. Okay, Jesus Christ.
The gas here in El Paso is what did I pay? I paid just like an hour ago. It was like $3.49 motherfucking cents.
Jesus
man.
Christ.
And this is Texas.
Yeah.
There's fucking oil fields an hour away from us,
your
dude.
next door neighbor is an oil rig. Like,
yeah, dude.
That's fucking crazy. But I mean, there's a lot we missed a bunch of shit. Really, the Chappelle special dropped.
We can still talk about that.
The center of controversy. Oh yeah, because there's still shit going on with it.
Yeah,
like I grew up listening to Dave Chappelle, right? Like Chappelle Show, fucking his old shit, right?
I really feel bad for the people that are like just directly younger than us, because they never got to like experience like weekly new Chappelle Show when it was like current, you know what I mean? Like
yep. And they also never got to experience real comedy when it was mainstream, right? Now it's like, I mean,
dude,
Chappelle,
I remember being a kid and like watching Comedy Central like stand up like all the fucking time, man. And like you like, dude, comedians just like didn't have to be as careful like 10 years ago, like, you know what I mean? So
Dave Chappelle, I mean old Dave Chappelle, think about it, like George Lopez was fucking
Cat
raunchy.
Williams, man.
Cat Williams, even like I mean it was like everyone, and Eddie Murphy, Chris Rock, those guys weren't PG.
Eddie Murphy couldn't do his comedy now. I don't.
Eddie Murphy
I think he would have to tone it down. You know what I mean?
Raw.
It just the thing that just sucked. Yeah, like Raw especially. The thing that is like, it's funny, man, because like I still will watch stand up now. Like I mean, there's funny stuff out there still now, but it's just like, dude, I've watched like some big name comedians that are kind of like mainstream ones, like fucking Pete Davidson's the first one to come to mind, man. And his shit just kind of like, that kind of comedy is just kind of fucking bland, dude.
It's just stale. Yeah. It's there's Shane Gillis just dropped a free one on YouTube that was really good. He was the guy that got hired to Saturday Night Live, and then they fired him 3 days later when people dug up like tweet or jokes of him making an Asian impersonation from like 7 years ago.
Of course.
But no, his is really good. That just dropped recently. It's like I said, it's on YouTube for free. Go check it out if you're like aching for stand-up. But
yeah, that would be good.
That one's really funny. But no, I mean, like there's the controversy around this Chappelle thing. It mainly it comes from people who didn't watch it. Well, two fields of people. One is people who didn't watch it and just got upset at the clips, and two are truly mentally ill people that knew they were going to get upset going into it and watched it anyway because they wanted to have things to blog about.
It's a really loud minority that didn't exist 10 years ago, man.
Right.
Like nobody fucking, it's fucking people's outrage Twitters weren't making the tweets, weren't making the fucking local news. You know what I mean? Nobody gave a shit about that kind of stuff.
It really is. It's such a small group of people, like the majority. And it's nice to see, like, it's like I grew up watching Dave Chappelle. And I never imagined that the guy that I used to laugh my ass off when I was like 13 at him making fun of Oscar the Grouch would be the center of a culture war when I was in my mid-20s. Like
I'm not like advocating for like, like shit like that one guy that played Kramer standing up there and like just calling a guy the N-word on stage.
Oh yeah,
like,
I mean that's not funny. That's like exactly. It's just being edgy to like there's no punchline or anything to it.
Exactly.
But yeah, that was I saw that again the other day. That started circulating. I was like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, man, that was from like a hot minute ago too, but like that's why that guy doesn't work anymore.
Why did he have like a mental breakdown?
I think he was drunk and like I think that guy was being disruptive in the show, but not, you know what I mean? There's like no good excuse to do that.
Have you seen the video? And not to get off track here, but we do that all the time. But the video of the guy from Smash Mouth.
No. What happened with him, dude?
Smash Mouth got booked to do some weird like beer fest thing for some town because that's what they've been relegated to at this point, right?
Yeah.
And so the singer from Smash Mouth, I guess, has some like neurological disorder with his brain that just causes him to just freak the fuck out. Like, so
is he like bipolar or something?
It's something more intense than that. So this girl like videotaped it and shit. And so what happened was he quit the band temporarily to get this under control. They got a new singer. He said, hey, I think I'm good to go now. So they brought him back. And this dude there was a video. This dude is just hammered at the concert. In the middle of songs, he's like screaming at people and telling them, he's like, I'll kill your whole fucking family.
I'll kill your family.
Yeah, it's like the guy from Smash Mouth, like right in the middle of Walking on the Sun, he's like threatening to assault people and stuff. And it's like, but yeah, so it was that, but it's just funny how far the mighty have fallen since All Star. Oh, here it is.
That's like a recent thing that like.
Yeah, here, I'll play the audio for you at least.
These aren't great, but I did just see Smash Mouth perform live at a local beer and wine festival. When I say this is the most chaotic show I've ever seen in my entire life, I have no words. At no point was the sound balanced.
The sound's all imbalanced and shit.
Unintelligible speech.
Yeah, now he's doing a Nazi salute.
He did a Nazi salute.
They blew the speakers. He just picked the beer up and threw it on the ground. Brought a random girl on stage to sing because he was too drunk.
I'll kill your whole family. I mean, I'm laughing at that, but that's pretty fucking sad. Like
he said, if I could suck my own dick, I'd never leave my house. But yeah, so that's the current state of Smash Mouth for anyone who was curious. But yeah, no.
Dude, so whatever happened to Sugar Ray?
That was Mark McGrath, right?
I think so.
He's doing. I'm sure they're still touring and doing like rib fests and stuff like that.
like pop rock bands in the 2000s.
Yep,
Dude,
yep.
Sugar, I mean, I like
Spin Doctors and people like that. Yeah.
I like Sugar Ray, man. I thought they were pretty good.
Yeah, they had one song.
Nah, they had a couple good ones.
Did
man.
they?
Yeah.
Well, it was them and fucking there's Spin Doctors, Uncle Cracker, all those like late 90s, early 2000s like pop rock, but Gavin DeGraw. People
like fucking like spiked up, like not spiked, but like like the spiked like frosted tip hair singers.
Yep, those guys. Yep, Smash Mouth's in that group. Yeah, there's a bunch of them. You know, it's like made for radio rock, right? And just not today's radio.
Shit, most of our audience probably doesn't even know who Smash Mouth is.
Oh, I'm sure you're not giving them enough credit. What?
Dude, well, I mean, it's not like Smash Mouth is being played in like fucking like TikToks or anything.
TikToks and shit. Oh, you know, the other one was Crazy Town.
Yeah,
come
right.
my lady, come my lady, you're my butterfly.
Did they even
sugar,
have any
baby.
other song?
No,
other than that
God,
one?
no.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
No, not at all.
At least Smash Mouth was a 2-hit wonder.
What'd they have?
They had
All Star and then I saw her face. There was 3. That's 3 hits.
Well, that third one's kind of a cover.
I'm a believer. Is it? Who sang that originally?
It's like a song from like the 70s or something.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. I mean, no. Smash Mouth had a couple, but no, you're right. That is a cover. Smash Mouth had a couple bangers.
Maybe it is a Smash Mouth. Oh no, yeah, it's a song by the Monkees. Yeah.
Oh, yep. That's
or the Monkees or Neil Diamond, one of the two.
Yep. Yeah. No, I knew it was somebody. You're right. It's not theirs though. But yeah, so Smash.
When you type in "I'm a Believer" song by Smash Mouth, the song is like there's a picture of Shrek on it.
Yeah, because it was made for Shrek. Shrek literally made them, which good for them. Like, yeah. But so anyway, fuck, I got off track there. Trying to think of where we stopped with Chappelle. But no, like to see, like, I think it's cool that like finally you see like and I know we shit on corporations and shit on the show and big tech on the show a lot, but to see Netflix finally have some balls and just tell the mob, fuck you. No, I'm not taking it down. Even if money was the main motivation there and not free speech, and they want to pretend it was free speech, that's fine. They still said fuck
protect
off.
Their assets, man. Like, dude, comedy is one of Netflix's biggest fucking money makers.
Dude, that's the thing, man, is Dave Chappelle, because like Dave Chappelle, there's only one Dave Chappelle. There's 100 Janices in accounting. They can replace you like that, man. You ain't like you ain't making the kind of money. A lot of people are overvaluing themselves. You're not making. You can have to, a fourth of the fucking whatever department can walk out, right? And they still won't be netting as much as Dave Chappelle is for Netflix. They can replace you. They can't replace the GOAT. Like that's.
But I do want to bring up that I like your point that you made about like that you don't actually support the fact that Netflix fired him. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, I said that on Facebook.
Yeah, you don't like that, and I think it's a really great point. Is like we don't like that they fired him for it.
No,
but you know what I mean? Like, people have been fired at other companies for less.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
and it's just like, yeah, it's like you got to have it both ways, man. Like that's the only fair way to do it.
My whole issue with it is a lot of these people in this outrage mob. I remember last year they were going for sport. They were bored. I remember it was going viral. They were going for sport. They were looking up like 18-year-old kids who had just like, they'd find like 18-year-old like seniors and juniors in high school, and they would type in the keyword just got accepted to, and they'd find where these kids got accepted to colleges, and they would dig up tweets from when they were like freshmen in high school. And, if it was like a joke or if they had a rap lyric where they used a slur with it, it started not in like a racial way, but it's just, that's the fucking lyric to a Kendrick Lamar song, right? And they would send it to these colleges because they were bored. And they would get these kids scholarships yanked or get them thrown on probation before they even got there, get them kicked off the athletic teams and shit like that. They're doing it. They've been doing it for years. They go the same fucking outrage mob that's upset with Chappelle and are now the ones getting fired. They would go through and they'd find just some random dude on the street who worked at State Farm's tweet from 10 years ago and try to get him fired from it. It was just stupid shit like that.
I've never been a big supporter of obviously, I think I'm kind of like midway about it. Like, not like old high school tweets, but if like fucking, Mark and the fucking shipping is over there, like, saying that Hitler did nothing wrong and something like that. If the company wants to fire him for it,
was if they want to fire him for that, but to bring
that doesn't happen though. You know what I mean? I've never been a big supporter of, like you said, like the rap lyrics and stuff, because it's like, dude, like everybody should be able to enjoy that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? It's like black culture. It's like in the music. It's like you should be able to enjoy the music. You know what I mean? Like,
and it's not even that. It's that, if Mark in shipping wants to post racist shit on Facebook and the company finds out about it and fires him, I would fire him too if it was my employee, right? But at the same time, to take it upon yourself to dig up posts from a complete stranger and just comb through it, trying to ruin this person's life and to take their livelihood. I don't give a fuck what the guy said. That's a bitch ass move.
I think for me, it would have to be some, like, if I had a small business, right, and I found out one of my employees like had some shit like that through like somebody sending it to me or him showing, you know what I mean? For
Right.
me, it would have to be, there'd have to be a few things. One, there'd have to be consistency to it, and there'd have to be recency, consistency and recency. Because it's like if a guy is like posting like a stand-up comedian doing a joke that's like from like 2004, you know what I mean? He did it last week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'd probably just like pull him into my office and be like,
I wouldn't do that.
I mean, or you know what I mean? Like,
I wouldn't care if the guy showed it. You know, and I think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I'll make my point.
I would just say, I would just like tell him like it, like off the cuff, like just, hey man, just like don't talk like about that kind of stuff at work. And you know, if you guys are drinking at the bar after, I don't give a shit. Just,
Yeah.
Don't do it while you're at work.
Yeah.
And then, but that's also different though if a guy's doing that or some guy's running like a neo-fascist Nazi fucking Facebook group. Well, you know what I mean?
No, that, and there has to be nuance to every situation. And the problem was for a long time there wasn't. You'd get like the kids with the rap lyrics, or you'd get some guy that in a Twitter argument referred to someone as a retard and they found his employer and tried to get him fired or some shit like that. But that's different than some guy that is running for office on the Nazi party on the platform of exterminating the Jews. I can understand why you want someone like that associated with your business. I also think, and more companies need to start probably with cancel culture and shit the way it is. I think more companies need to start doing this and more employees need to start doing this. Take your fucking employer off your social media. Take it off. Because you never know what fucking jackass with too much time on his hands is combing through your profile because you wronged him or you had the wrong opinion, looking for something to send to your employer and be like, is this really something you want representing your company?
Man, if anybody that's important knows where you work, you know what I mean? And so
they don't need to know. No, nobody needs to know where you work. If you really want someone to know where you work, tell them. It doesn't need to be posted on Facebook. Certainly shouldn't be on Twitter. My God. Like you don't want some dumbass because you don't have your pronouns in your bio or whatever, sending it off to your employer calling you transphobic. Like that. It's just drama you can avoid. I heard a story about a guy who it wasn't his real employer, but he would shit post all the time. And he said his job was like the city of Tulsa.
So they sent it to the city.
So there would caught the city of or whatever city. They had to like send out like an actual Facebook post about this guy does not work here. This is a troll account. Please stop contacting us.
That's hilarious. Complete chaos, man.
Yeah. But so I mean,
it's funny when it's like the athletes too when they try to get them canceled because I'm like. Dude, imagine like a guy like fucking that, like a basketball or college player, you know what I mean? All his fucking friends are black dudes, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like if he's posting Kendrick Lamar lyrics, are you really surprised?
It was like Josh Allen from the Bills. He had a tweet they found when he was 15. It was someone asked him if he was what his racial preference was for like dating or some shit like that. He said, if it ain't white, it ain't right. And they tried to make him look like a racist. He overcame that. He got drafted. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Like, obviously, that's not a guy who was, let me tell you, man, if a team's starting quarterback was a racist, you'd fucking know. Because there's no way he's going to be able to lead a team. There's no way guys are going to, especially a successful one. There's no way that a team would rally around a guy that was a racist as their quarterback. It just wouldn't happen.
The thing with John Gruden happened recently too. We kind of missed that. Did you hear? I kind of like supported. I kind of like what Derek Carr's perspective on it when he was asked in an interview about it. He's just like they should just uncover all the old emails from all the coaches in the NFL.
They'd fire them all. It was a different time.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
It was a different time.
It's like, if that's what the hill you want to die on with Gruden, right? Like, oh yeah, he deserved it. He was saying racist shit, whatever. Okay, fine. Well, let's go to your coach's fucking old emails from the 2000s. You know what I mean? Like, let's do that. And then if we want to completely clean white every fucking current coach, then cool. But we just got to be consistent about it. We need consistency.
You have to look at the context of the time, and I hate to be that guy, but one of the big things was he was using the word fag a lot. And dude, I'm not excusing it. I'm not saying it was okay. 15 years ago, fag meant something different than it does right now. 90% of the
you know what?
usage.
It's funny.
It was
too,
a different meaning. It was a different word. It wasn't meant to describe a gay person.
The South Park episode was perfect that described it back in the day, where they basically tried to they brought up the point that the word faggot has changed numerous times over history.
It used to mean cigarette.
And well, no, that it used to be somebody that pick up like a fag was a faggot was like a bundle of sticks.
Yeah.
Or like a fag was.
Yeah.
Like a faggot was somebody that literally collected sticks for firewood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In like England in like the fucking 1600s.
Yeah.
So it's like they brought up that, and then they were also like people when most of the times like when somebody is calling somebody that, I mean there's somebody that's really annoying. You know what I mean?
No, I mean,
and they tried to put it off as like the fucking bikers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The people that drive their motorcycles really loud through town and shit. And they turn it into the biker community. They tried to legally change the way or like the meaning of the word fag to be a biker.
Well, I mean, words definitely evolve. And like I said, I'm not excusing it. It was derogatory. It was inflammatory for people to use it. But we all said it when we were like 12. We didn't know any better. And, you know, and people back in a hyper masculine culture like a football locker room 10, 15 years ago, I guarantee much worse than that word got thrown around to call people pussies, to call people obnoxious, to call whatever you want to say. But my thing with the Gruden thing, the only other take I have on it is that he do it on a work email?
I think so. Which
I mean,
that too was like that's still dumb, man.
Yeah,
like,
you got
15 years ago.
Come on, Hillary Clinton, what are you doing?
Yeah, come on, dumbass.
But like,
he could have been fired for calling somebody a shithead on a company.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying.
Is email, bro. Like
company, like imagine Roger Goodell is the owner of your company. Like, if you don't believe me, log on to your work email tomorrow morning and call the owner of your company a pussy and a faggot. And see how many hours you still keep your job.
Don't even fucking. It doesn't even have to be something as crazy as that. Just call him a jackass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nobody's out there fucking simping for the jackass fucking population in America. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude.
So, call him a jackass and let's see how long you have your job. Like,
that Monty Scott sent me a picture. This person emailed every single person he works at a large company, right? I'm not going to out him, but someone emailed everyone in the company. He gets this email. It says, Mindy McGuire is the most unorganized supervisor ever and is trash, and company is not equal opportunity. Okay, bye. Everyone, all the way up to the CEO, got that email.
Hell yeah, dude. Fuck you, Mindy.
Fucking bitch. Mindy. Fucking stupid bitch.
That's hilarious, man.
Well, Mia's brother-in-law works for the same company, so like
we got the same email.
We sent it to him, and he like looked her up, and he's like, "No, she's not in the system anymore."
Who would even talk shit like that on like a personal email? Like, what motherfucker out there is like sending emails to their friend, be like, "Yo, fuck this bitch."
That was I don't know if that was a mistake or if that was a "fuck you, I'm leaving" kind of thing. Like, but yeah,
fuck you, Mindy.
I mean, when people do stupid shit like that, like, did you guys not learn from the whole Hillary Clinton thing? Like the email server.
I don't even think it needed to be, because the Hillary Clinton thing was more of that she was like sending official government business.
Oh, and like her Gmail. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But I mean, be careful with your email.
What fucking dumbass needs to have that explained to him? Somebody that shouldn't be the head coach of a football.
Right. Exactly.
You know
Someone
that requires at least a semblance of like fucking good decision.
Right.
That wasn't good decision making 15. That wasn't good decision making fucking 40 years ago when email was like invented. You know
I do. When I was 18, I had a job selling cars and I had a work email. And I knew at fucking 18 years old, you don't talk shit about your employer on your work email.
Your work email is literally supposed to be all professional talk shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You
literally.
Can't even say like call something dumb. You know what I mean? It's like, no, you're sending official work emails,
right,
bro. Like,
yeah, you're not on there to talk shit and gossip about your company.
Yeah, dude, save that shit for the fucking water cooler, man, not your company fucking email.
Right. Like Snapchat. I mean, there's options, right? Like, you don't have to send this on your fucking. But I mean, it was to the owner of the Washington football team, correct?
I don't even know, man. I didn't follow that closely because I was just like, man, like whatever. If he gets fired, whatever. I have like no opinion about it.
Well,
like,
I don't know how much that was cancel culture and how much of that was the
because Gruden
on him out.
resigned. He didn't
Yeah.
get fired. He
Yeah,
just
no,
resigned, which probably means there was smoke. It's probably more of it's probably, I think it was more of a where there's smoke, there's fire type deal.
Yep.
Because I'm sure he knew there was probably some more. She probably was sending fucking chicks his dick pics.
Oh,
like,
I'm sure.
Work email, you know what I mean?
And I think something had to do with the fact just simply that they wanted him out. And this was an excuse to not pay the buyout. And I think that's what it comes down to dollar signs at the end of the day. I don't know how much of that is.
I think it was either, I know it was like leaked by a player, right? But like, you got to think like who
was CC'd on that?
The president of the fucking Denver Broncos is probably the one that was probably like, yo, tell them. Yeah.
It was Bill Callahan.
Hell, it was John Elway. John Elway was like, yo, out this motherfucker. I want this coach fired. Who fuck my competition. You know what I mean?
Bill Callahan. This is what you get for beating me in the Super Bowl.
You piece of shit.
Well, you've heard the story about Callahan, right?
Yeah, where he
used
the same
like audibles and playbook against him. Like he scripted the same plays that Gruden used to script.
What do you think Gruden does now, man? I think he goes back to doing the Gruden like fucking QB room shit or whatever.
They won't have him on ESPN, I guarantee.
Well, I mean, he could go be on YouTube. He'd
go to YouTube. He could do a fucking.
He could get a boomer population to earn a sizable fucking.
He should start a podcast with Charles Barkley.
Dude, imagine if all this some shit. I'm sure Charles Barkley was probably calling motherfuckers faggots back in the 90s.
Oh, I'm sure Charles Barkley said much worse than that. Worse than Charles Barkley.
Yeah, dude. Like, imagine he's probably like sweating all his donut sweats out right now. Oh,
this is terrible. This is just terrible.
They're gonna come get me. I'm gonna get fired.
Yeah. I mean, he's protesting the 2K games. He won't let him put him on like the historic teams.
Yeah, he won't have a player profile. I think
it's because they didn't
Reggie
sign.
Miller's the same way.
Yeah, former players can't get paid from it. And he did say some shit about
it's not that the former players don't.
Oh, it's that they didn't get paid enough. Yeah,
they didn't get paid enough. He's like, they've been making $18 billion trillion, and they only give the Players Association like $1 million.
Yeah.
You could tell me they could afford to pay more. Like,
it's when he said the part that got me where I was like, okay, man, was when he said the rest of us are struggling to feed our families. I'm like, Charles.
Did he really say that?
Yeah, I'm like, Charles,
I don't remember him saying that.
I read that in the article. He said it was something the rest of us struggle to get by or some shit.
Was he making a joke about it or something like that?
Maybe I needed to see him say it, but I saw that. I'm like, Charles, you have a job on TNT halftime. If you cannot feed your family,
looking like he's been fucking hungry. You
know what I mean? If you cannot feed your family on the TNT halftime show, you need to take a look at your finances and see what's going wrong.
Yeah, I mean, if he wants to fucking make that point that he thinks that they should be paying him more, you know what, that's his opinion. Whatever, I'm not gonna him for that. You know, like whatever. He's not the only one that thinks that. Like Reggie Miller's the same way. He's like, hey, if they're gonna use my likeness, I should be getting paid more money.
And I don't disagree. I don't necessarily disagree with that. But
2K does make a ton of fucking money off of NBA 2K, so and they make it every year as consistent money. So
well, they're trying to bring back NCAA. And it's kind of falling apart at football. It's kind of falling because they signed the name, image, likeness thing. It's kind of falling apart at the seams because with when EA was doing it with NCAA 14, they could just it was all the teams running the same contract, super easy, one and done. Now it's each team negotiates individually, and they've already had 30 schools back out. And I'm like, dude, the reason that a lot of people play the NCAA games was for the realism, and they wanted the realistic rosters and all the teams, and so you can run a full simulation. And when you take that away, it's worthless. You might as well not even cut it. You know what I mean? People keep playing 14, and it's just going to be interesting to see how this name, image, likeness thing affects everything going forward.
Yeah, and one thing too that I've always kind of been critical of the people that don't think that the college athletes should be paid is dude, people, it's not like you're like, oh, it degrades the fucking scholarship shit. I'm like, dude, well, like the people that are like getting paid for their like to do like advertisements and shit aren't the fucking second string D tackle for fucking Oregon State. That, you know what I mean? It's like guys like Trevor Lawrence back in the day that really everybody knew. You know what I mean?
Right. Like my thing is like, I don't think that universities should have to cut them like a salary, because I mean
they don't. And that's not even what they're talking about. It's more of like so Nike could fucking sponsor fucking Trevor Lawrence, boom, or like after he wins the national championship.
The local sports bar can have like 2 basketball players come do a live podcast once a week, like that kind of shit. You know what I mean? Or like commercials for car dealerships and shit like that. It's not. Yeah, it's not. I think someone's going to get a little ballsy at some point. You're going to see like a T-Boone Pickens with like stupid oil money come and drop like $1 million on a 5-star quarterback recruit.
But you know what I mean? Like advertising for what? Like an oil fucking like
it would be he's have some fake company or whatever.
He's gonna be fucking sponsored by Shell.
Like, but he'd just pay the guy so he'd commit there. And
it's not like that shit probably wasn't going on already.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, it's dirty money. It's money that's getting washed. I mean, when you look at college kids, when you look at an entire college basketball team of kids driving fucking Hellcats in Kentucky, it's like, yeah, a couple of them might have rich parents, but we've all been college kids. They don't have the money to pay for that kind of shit, you know?
Even like with a scholarship, man, I get all my school paid for me.
Yeah.
And fucking, I get even like, I get a small, like a stipend, a livable stipend from the government to go to school with the GI Bill.
Yeah.
I'm still fucking broke all the time, dude.
Right.
Like, cause I can't go hold a full-time job and also focus on my fucking school.
It's tough.
These guys are athletes too. It's like, if they're good athletes, they're fucking doing their schoolwork, which they have to, according to the NCAA, be doing their grades for.
Or they just cheat.
Yeah, which I mean is whatever. Regular college students do that. Right. You know what I mean? You can't hold that specifically against athletes, but they don't have time to work a job. It's like, dude, they got to watch film. They got to go to practice. Like the good athletes are doing that shit a ton too. You know what I mean? It's like, when are they going to have time to work a 40-hour job? Because like hardly any companies want to hire fucking part-time. So
right.
It's like,
well, a lot of people will right now if they want to. But I mean, could you imagine like you go to McDonald's to get your fries and fucking Trevor Lawrence is working the drive-thru?
Yeah. Fucking who's like Zaire Williams is there, like or fucking like, Zaire Wade. I mean, like if like Dwayne Wade's son is there, like fucking folding clothes at Target.
It's like thank you for calling Hilton Inn. This is Spencer Rattler. How can I help you? That kind of shit. Like I imagine doing that. That would be fucking. Dude. That would be fucking funny.
It's tough. It's tough financially just because of the time commitment that college is. Like all these fucking boomers want to say like, oh, just try to go work or something. I don't even know what their fucking point is. It's like, oh, degrades a scholarship. It's like, yeah, man, they're making like fucking, 70, 80 grand total. The thing is like not all the players even finish their fucking degrees. You know what I mean?
Well,
but it's like, I mean, what do they think these players, like these players are still college students. It's not like they're fucking living day to day, like making a ton of money through their scholarship. Like, no, dude.
The problem with a lot of these boomers is they see that we didn't have a good thing, so nobody else should ever have one. You know what I mean? So it's like we got screwed, so you should have to get screwed too. When in reality, they had it. Well, we've been over it a million times. We talked about it till we're blue in the face on this show. The boomers had it pretty fucking easy. Like,
imagine like the boomers of the boomers, like the fucking ones that were the old heads back when the boomers were younger, like complaining about athletic scholarships. You know what I mean? They're like, why should a school be able to pay a student's tuition to go to their school? That's some horse shit.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, like, dude, it's like the same mentality. You know what I mean?
It's a handout. No,
it's a handout. Why should my tuition money be going to some lacrosse player? I don't give a shit about lacrosse. Like
man. The silent gen. I've read articles. I was at a job I used to have a while back. They made us like read this article, and it was about the lazy upcoming generation, and it was about, they're lazy, they're selfish, they're stupid. They don't care about anyone but themselves, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, who do you think this is about? And, of course, everyone said millennials. And they go, no, this article was written in the 1950s about the boomers. And it was like, it's just it's the rite of passage for one generation to bad. I'm a millennial. I hate Gen Z. You know, like it's like
I don't hate Gen Z's. Like I don't have any problem with them.
I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
you know what I
I
mean?
I hate a very specific group of Gen Zs. It's the TikTok ones. Those are the ones that I can't.
Dude, TikTok
stand.
is like the Gen Z is like bread and butter, man. That's their entertainment source.
Oh my
like,
god!
imagine if they were talking shit on millennials about watching YouTube. Like, they're like, "Wow, we had cable when I was a kid." Like, okay.
Okay, no, like I think. Have you seen? It's a Twitter account called Libs of TikTok.
No,
It's fucking hilarious.
I'm not really active on Twitter, so like,
well, this page is fucking worth it, man. They find like the wackiest fucking shit on TikTok of like people like hard left shit, and they're on there. It's just stuff that's like over my head. They're like explaining like pronouns of pronouns and stuff like that. I'm like, how do y'all have time? Like, go fucking do something. Like,
source, I made it up, bro.
Yeah, they're like, well, sub pronouns are a pronoun of a pronoun. See, when you say, well, and it's like a 5-minute explanation. I'm like, y'all made, like, you had time to make this shit up. Imagine if you did like something actually productive, like other,
like when started a business.
Yeah, you wouldn't. You go hand your resume in on cardstock creamy paper.
Worked 60 hours a week like I did when I was your age.
When I was 19, I had 3 kids and 2 full-time jobs.
I made $3 an hour, which according to modern inflation is like $22 an hour. Right. Still, I had it rough.
My house was 60 grand. I got locked into a 30-year mortgage. I sold it at insane profits. Like, God, my college degree cost $250 a year.
No, there's like actual like papers and math and shit that like do like scientifically prove that boomers like control like the ridiculous sum of the nation's wealth.
Sure. Did you
once all the boomers pass, they will be the largest transfer of wealth with inflation taken into account ever in American history. Ever.
Yep. Like, well, none of the boomers I'm related to have any money, so I'm not going to be part of that.
Yeah, right.
Did you see it was an article. It was the boomers, and maybe we've talked about it on here before, but the boomers are the first generation to hoard property instead of downsize, right? So every generation throughout history, kids move out, you're on Social Security, so your income's cut back, or you don't want to take care of a yard, you don't want to take care of rental property, stuff like that. You downsize, you sell your property, you move to a condo, to a retirement home, to an apartment, or even just a smaller house, right? The boomers are
that's the whole idea of their fucking houses is their retirement funds, because they can sell their house for whatever equity they owned in it, and then fucking use that equity that they made off of it as their another retirement source. On top of Social Security and on top of hopefully a pension or retirement. Whatever, exactly. You're looking at that of like somebody making like $4,000 a month, which like by today's even today's standards is like a good fucking amount.
It's
of
not
money.
bad. No,
that's good, man. That's good fucking money. Somebody living in like fucking the Midwest making $4,000 a month, dude,
48 grand a year.
Yeah, that's a good amount of money, dude.
Well, so anyway, so the boomers, they're the first generation that has expanded. They've bought bigger homes, they've bought rental properties, they've hoarded property. And the article, it was very blunt. It was like the only way to get out of this is when they all die. Like, it's like there's the only way, like and I hope a lot of them will reap what they sowed, and a lot of people are just going to say, fuck you, I'm not going to move into these rental homes, and they're going to have to sell them. Like, because I hope that people will start putting their foot down and being like, I'm done renting. I want to own property. Because that would have to be like a national awakening, though, and I just don't see that happening. People are too busy fighting over who has pronouns in their bio to fucking tell the actual people that are actually fucking, not Dave Chappelle, the actual people that are. And I'm not shaming all boomers. I'm talking like the corporate elites and these real estate and oil companies, the government,
and the people that run fucking shitty rental properties,
like shitty land, like slumlords, and I don't have any problem with landlords. I'm not a communist, and like the federal government, people are too busy fighting. with each other.
My opinions on landlords is it's about the same. I think it should be the same level as a fucking drug dealer when it comes to a respect for it, because it's like it doesn't really add anything to an economy.
Drug dealers add stuff to an economy.
So that's, I mean, even so drug dealers. Well, I mean, they're not producing anything though. They're just selling stuff as middlemen. You know.
So
what I mean?
So in defense of landlords, there are a lot of people. I disagree. I think they do provide a service, because there are a lot of people that rent because they can't afford to own. So I'll give you an example. When I had first moved into my first apartment and everything, my toilet broke down.
Well,
right?
an apartment complex though is different than somebody owning a house that's already built, even if it was built like 80 years ago.
Yeah.
And here's the thing about landlords too, is there's like, you can say like, oh, there's good landlords, but like, dude, there's a ton of shitty fucking private landlords out there.
There's shitty people in every industry.
Well, dude, I would say like the percentage though.
Mhm.
I've dealt with way more shitty private landlords than I have good landlords, and there are good landlords, right?
Mhm.
There's which the whole idea of like, oh yeah, I don't have to maintain the house or something like that, and they'll take care of it. I just give them the rent a month. But then like the fucking hot water goes out and they don't fix it for 4 months. You know.
See,
It's like,
that's where a lot of people get fucked, because they don't know their rights. So that was what I was gonna say. Is landlords, even in houses, serve a purpose, because I mean, your toilet goes out, your plumbing goes down, and it's a multi-$1,000 fix. They just it's an inconvenience, but you, at the end of the day, you still don't have to pay to fix it. Now, if your landlord's jerking you around, there are law offices that have draft letters. You can just go print out and type and fill in and just data entry the information you need, and you can send it to them with a postmark, so they have to reply saying they got it, and you can take them to court.
Some houses, like I know, like the state of Texas will like have like proper like renter laws where it's like you need to be able to provide the tenant fucking hot water and like air conditioning and shit. But it's like if there's a hole in the fucking fence from like a storm or something like that, you know what I mean? And now you can't let your dog go to the bathroom outside by itself because there's a hole in the fence and they'll fucking get out.
Mhm.
And you're like, hey, my fucking landlord, like, hey, can you fix this fucking hole in the fence? Hey, can you fix this hole in the fence? Hey, can you fix this fucking hole in the fence? And they're not required by law to fix it because it's not a fucking necessary thing. You know what I mean? They could just be like, well, just go out there with your dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and there's a ton of landlords that like just won't fucking fix it, or they won't fix it for like 4 months.
Mhm.
And now that's just a thing you have to deal with for 4 months.
You have an option though. And they can't say shit. It's called repair and deduct. So you can pay to have it repaired or repair it yourself and deduct the cost of labor and parts from your rent, which every state's got that as well. Trust me, I've been down this road.
Do they? Yeah. Can you pay, like, do you think if that happened to you, you could have right now afford legal fees and stuff like that to take a landlord to court over it? Because I mean,
I wouldn't.
I think apartments are different than somebody owning a house and using that as like a rental property, because a rental apartment is actually something that an apartment company builds. They add to a fucking, they add it to a city, and then they offer that living as a service. You know what I mean? And
What
generally,
if I build a house and I just want to rent it out?
Well, that's not what like comes into question, is because a lot of people don't do that. A lot of things is like people go buy starter houses that were built in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and then rent those out for the same price. You probably end up between like not paying the property taxes on it and the mortgage costs or whatever, you probably save like $200 a month, which is like, oh wow, $200 a month. If you're looking to buy a fucking house, you could probably add that into your budget.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But I mean, I think that what it comes down to, and I think there's just a difference of opinion, is just the repair costs and upkeep. If my land, like if something's still like what's something stupid, like if a screen door broke and my landlord was fucking me around and I just went out and bought a new screen door, I'd just take it out of my rent.
If my fucking front screen door broke, because not from like storm damage or something like that, but like, because like how often does that happen? Like if I broke my window by accident, fucking like me and the friends are drinking in the house and some like fucking jackass throws a bottle at my door and leaves a mark, I still have to pay that in an apartment complex though. You know what I mean? It's like my fucking windows.
Oh yeah, I mean if you damage it.
Yeah, if a storm comes through and breaks my fucking window, you know what I mean? You've got homeowners insurance. Like they do insurance for that.
Right.
When it comes to owning a house privately. So it's not like that's a huge fucking boost over renting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but yeah, for that kind of stuff. But I mean, again, roofing, plumbing, stuff like that gets expensive.
I mean,
to
yeah,
repair.
that kind of stuff does get expensive, but it's not something you have to do every month. You know what I
No,
mean?
but you don't have to do it every month. But the one time it gets you, boy, does it fuck you. Like it's.
I mean, yeah, but like I don't know. Like I've had an experience like here in like my apartment where the fucking roof still drips. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can't fucking call up the apartment and be like, "Hey, can you fix my fucking roof?" Because this shit plugs in. They're like, "Yeah, we already know about it. There's nothing we can do to fix it. We're scheduled to do it in 4 months." It's like,
see, that's the difference. Is when I have issues with my land, and maybe this is the difference because I'm an asshole and I can be a terrible customer. When I have any issue with my landlord, I give him a week to, as long as it's not urgent, I give him a week to fix it. If it's not fixed in a week, I call the front desk every 30 minutes until someone's in my apartment, regardless of how small of an issue it is.
well, you know what I mean? Like if I'm a fucking owner of an apartment complex and somebody's doing to that, I'm just gonna be like, I don't give a shit, man.
Yeah, if you're the owner, but if you're the
he'll tire himself out.
If you're the secretary, you'll send someone down.
Yeah,
but no, I wouldn't.
But that's where I think it goes into the difference that I think apartments are different than a private, like a guy just owning a fucking house and he rents it out to some random jackass. You know what I mean? It's like the apartments usually have like a ton of staff. They'll have like handymen and like secretaries. But if it's just like John Dickhead that owns a fucking older house in the fucking older part of the city and rents, like in Omaha, because that shit happens all the time, where like all the houses in South Omaha that should be starter houses are owned by fucking John Dickhead that fucking bought it when the economy collapsed in 2009 and he was fine. You know what I mean? So he just bought like 4 or 5 houses and now has them all as rental properties, and he doesn't have fucking staff. He's just like, oh yeah, my fucking friend of mine is the handyman. He does it when it's convenient for him.
But,
you know what I
mean? How many people that are renting houses can afford like a down payment for a house?
You know what? I looked through that, like somebody like me, right? When I was looking to buy a house in Omaha, like somebody like me doesn't have to pay down payment because I got a VA loan. But still, it doesn't matter because. Well, yeah, it doesn't matter because if I'm trying to look for a house in Omaha or like even in El Paso right now, because the stuff with COVID making property prices really high, like I'm still gonna end up paying a ton of fucking money for rental prices, just the same as like if I would be paying a mortgage payment and everything.
Yeah, I've been watching the property values here like a hawk because we're probably gonna in the next year or two be buying a house, and there's cracks in the foundation. It's starting to go down,
which is good, dude. I was literally seeing houses in the ghetto here in El Paso that were worth 200% what they were last year. Yeah, they were worth like twice as like 120% more than what they were a year ago. And I'm like, dude, this is like a shitty house in the ghetto, man. This thing shouldn't be selling for 200 grand. Like,
I figured the market would correct itself. I don't know what level it will, but like I'm seeing like there was someone that cut their house like $5 grand, right? And $5 grand, cutting your house $5 to 10 grand, that's not like, oh, we found something terribly wrong with it. That's shit, this isn't selling. Like I've seen houses that have been on the market for months that don't have any
the one thing
issues.
that's annoying about that with the market, with like the housing market correcting itself, which it does happen, but the thing that kind of sucks is it can take months. You know what I mean? Years.
So
it
if
can
you're
take
in
a
the
whole
process
year
of trying to buy a house, you gotta wait.
And that's you having to sign another fucking 9-month lease with your apartment company. You know what I mean? Because you still haven't found a house because they're still super inflated. You know what I mean? That's like money just out of your pocket for nothing.
It's a shitty situation in general. I don't think anyone really wins from it, but
the property owners win from it that actually managed to sell their house.
If you manage to sell your house, I think there's a lot of people that are going to manage.
They make out like fucking bandits.
Get fucked here pretty soon. And that's fine. That's
people that are like just like living in their house for like 6 years, but they still have like fucking 80% equity in it just from like the price that they sold it of it recently. Which some places it's like, I don't know, maybe necessarily Omaha is like that, but I know cities like Phoenix and stuff. It's like, dude, the people just pay whatever the fuck they can. They're like moving from California or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They got a ton of money from the property there that they sold. They'll pay whatever the fuck they need to pay to get a house.
Yeah, they don't flying care. Fuck. Yeah.
That's
dude, we might see. It'll be interesting to see like how like elections and shit shape out in states like Texas and Arizona, where a lot of people from California move to. It'll be interesting to see if those people still vote for the same fucking borderline communist bullshit that they did in California, or if they're like, hey, maybe we didn't like this and we should change.
You know, I don't think a lot of the hard left people are the ones moving out of California.
No, I don't.
It's most of I mean, there's moderates in California, you know.
Yeah.
I mean? They're the ones that are moving away because they're tired of like homeless people and shit. Like,
I'm tired of homeless people too.
Yeah. I'm tired of homeless people here, and they're not even that many of them here.
We did a fucking comedy thing downtown, and there were like 5 homeless people just kept walking in and out, in and out, in and out. And there's one, I won't name drop. There's one girl came in and actually looked somewhat put together for a homeless person, right? And the bartender comes up to us and he's like, hey, he's like, that chick's fucking nuts. He's like, she's been in whatever mental institute like multiple times. Like she tried to kill her ex-boyfriend and stuff like that. And there's this simpy comic who I won't name. And he was like trying to flirt with her after the show. Or after the mic, and I'm like, nobody tell him. I want to see how this plays out. I haven't heard from him since though, so maybe we should check on him.
It's rough.
Maybe we should go check on him.
Yeah, maybe.
Dude banged a homeless chick, and now she's fucking wearing his skin as a Halloween mask.
Now he's a Halloween decoration in the front yard, and it's Halloween, so nobody's saying
there's
people
no
just
front
think
yard.
it's a
She's
really
homeless.
Oh, that's true. So her alleyway. People aren't saying anything because they're like, oh, it's just a really good decoration.
No, I don't. The homeless in Omaha aren't too bad, man. They're not in your face.
No, I don't think the homeless in Omaha are too bad either.
They're not like bigger cities, man. They're in.
Dude, I'm telling you, I've said it a million times on this podcast, man. The LA homeless are like another fucking breed of people, man.
They're like the 28 days later zombies versus
they're just
Walking
really,
Dead zombies.
really aggressive. Yeah.
Well, it's like they had a guy on Rogan recently. It was really interesting what he talked about. He said he went to Amsterdam, right? And Amsterdam is basically like you can do whatever the fuck you want, right? You can.
Is pot still legal there?
Oh, more than pot, dude. You can drink, you can smoke weed, you can hire a prostitute, you can shoot fucking heroin if you want to. But the thing is, he asked him, he's like, dude, he's like, you guys can do all this shit. He went over there and met with the drug and health minister of Amsterdam or the Netherlands or whatever. He said, you guys, like, everything is legal here, but you don't have the homeless problem. Like, you go to Denver, you go to LA, you go to Austin, San Francisco, Las Vegas, there's homeless everywhere. New York. He's like, why are there no homeless people here? And he said, well, it's very simple. It comes down to carrot and stick, right? He goes, in America, a lot of these bigger, like far left leaning cities have removed the stick. So you can do whatever the fuck you want, and they're just going to view you as a victim. In Amsterdam, you can shoot up heroin in your house. If you do it in public, you go to jail. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You can do whatever drugs you want. You go out high in public, you get in somebody's face, you hurt somebody, you rob them, you drive and hurt somebody, you pass out on the street, you go to jail. There's no fucking, like, if you are homeless, you can go to a homeless shelter as long as you can stay sober. But if you go to sleep on the floor or on the street, if you try to camp out somewhere, if you pass out in front of a Starbucks, you go to jail. You can go to the homeless shelter, you can go to jail. If you have a vehicle, you can find a 24-hour parking lot and you can sleep there. If you can pay the actual fee and go to an actual campground, you can camp there. You cannot camp out on abandoned city blocks.
That's the funny thing,
at the park.
Is I knew a guy that was homeless in LA.
Yeah.
At least back in like the 2000s. Maybe that's what the problem is, that they got rid of those laws. I think that's what the
a
problem
lot
is.
of cities have repealed those laws.
Yeah, because he was homeless in LA during that time, and he said, like, yeah, dude, I would have to like find bushes to hide behind because the cops, if they caught me sleeping on a bench, would wake me up and like tell me like, hey, you can't sleep here. Like,
yeah, it's different. Yeah. It's a different thing, and it's like, you know, it's not saying that like homeless people are the scourge of the earth and we should just round them all up and put them in jail. It's saying that you can either get help for yourself and try to sober yourself up, or you can go to jail. Like, those are your options. Like, if you're going to be a menace, if you're going to like, because I mean, some dude shooting up heroin in front of a 6-year-old, that's not a victimless crime.
Which that happens in Philadelphia, and they're fucking
San Francisco.
Dude, there's YouTube videos of that happening in Philadelphia, in that one part of the city that's like the homeless capital, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I forget the street, but like, yeah, there's literally dudes like shooting up heroin on the street, like in between their toes and shit.
Dude's taking shits on the street in San Francisco.
Yeah.
and they don't get arrested.
That's not victimless. That's not victimless crime. If somebody's
dude,
shitting in the
shit
middle
is
of
how
down.
like disease spreads. You know what
Exactly.
I mean? Like if you took a shit on the street in Amsterdam, you go to jail. Like there's nothing about it. Like you go to jail, and it's just
I wonder if that's actually not illegal in San Francisco, or they just don't enforce.
Probably
You know what I mean?
enforced.
It's like it's too hard for them to enforce it because they have so many homeless people.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think part of the issue is, I mean, we've just started. Homeless people are victims, and they couldn't have possibly done anything wrong. Anything they have done wrong, well, they're marginalized. So we should, that's okay. It explains it. If a homeless man wants to take your wallet, he needs your money more than you. No, but it's time to stop acting like people are incapable of doing anything wrong just because they've had some bad luck. You know what I mean? Like,
I think there are certain cities out there that are really tough on. I don't think Omaha's
some
tough on homeless people.
No, they don't really need to be. It's not too much of a problem here. Like if you're, there's like they have the Sienna Francis house downtown, and it's.
Which I know there's a lot of homeless people in downtown Omaha too.
Yeah.
Like especially during the day. Like,
oh yeah.
Although I remember when I was up there, especially when we go down to like the open mic down there, you wouldn't really see any homeless people down there, at least at nighttime.
Not all
I
the
wouldn't
time.
anyway.
I've been followed once or twice to my car, and it's just kind of like whatever. Like I've been having this issue with my car. I don't know, it's some like computer glitch or some wire came unattached, but like not every time I get in my car and press the lock button, it'll lock. Right.
That seems like a problem.
Yes, especially like you don't think it's going to be a problem until you've got a crackhead approaching your car in Council Bluffs at midnight in a fucking Casey's parking lot asking to use your phone, and you said no, and they keep coming at you. And it's like because that happened to me last night, man. I'm coming back from a fucking poker game, and I'm in Casey's. I'm walking out, and these people were in line in front of me, and there's these two crackheads, the guy and a girl, and she said, "Can I use your phone?" I just pretend I don't hear her. And then just keeps getting louder, and I just get in my car and I'm trying to lock it, and I'm like, fuck. And they're still looking at me and approaching me, and I'm like, okay, at what point do I go for my gun?
You see, that's the problem in the Midwest is people are nice to the homeless people. Like you don't have to be nice to homeless people, man. No. In fact, you don't even have to. You don't even have to be like nice-ish. Be fucking mean to them, dude. Tell them like fuck off. Get the fuck out of here, dude.
I mean, I don't want to escalate something to where it doesn't need to be, but like usually when homeless people ask me for my phone, I just tell them I don't have a phone. But I
tell them that too. I told a homeless lady down in South Omaha that, and she just like walks up and I don't have a phone. And because I like literally said that, and then we got in the car and I like whipped out my phone and started doing something. I'm just like, I'm not being nice to you.
I had a guy come up to me one time. I was getting the mail because we live in a quiet neighborhood, but it's by the interstate. So I had a guy come up to me with a garbage bag full of clothes, and he's like all aggressive. Can I use your phone? And I'm like, sorry, I don't have a phone. He goes, of course you don't. But he's like storms off screaming and cursing me. I'm like, dude, like, maybe if you changed your approach, people would let you use or maybe you go to like a Quick Trip where I know for a fucking fact they let you use the phone if you ask them nicely.
He's trying to nab your phone.
You haven't
got to be defensive about it. Like, he was just trying to,
and then I'm gonna end up shooting a guy over a phone, and I'm gonna go to jail, and it's just gonna be a whole fucking thing. And I'm like, I don't have a phone. Sorry, that's what.
You don't even have to apologize. Be like, I don't have a phone. You're not calling him a dickhead. You're just like, no, I don't have a phone.
Yeah, I don't have a phone. Sorry, man. I don't know what you want me to do.
Yeah.
They love to come at you though. We have there's like this seedy little motel about a mile north of here called the Carlisle, and it's changed names 100 times, but it's infamous. It's like $20 a night. My dad's friend came into town.
I've heard of that place.
Yes. I remember years ago growing up, my dad's friend came into town, and he's like, yeah, I'm staying at this place called the Carlisle, $20 a night. Well, it's right off the interstate. It's not in a bad area. And my dad's like, oh no. And he's like, what? He's like, oh, you'll find out. First night, dude, there's like bed bugs. Dude finds a fucking needle in the sink. And it's just like the person next door was like a prostitute pimping herself out and shit. And it was bad news.
Hell yeah, dude.
They like to come up from the hotel, and they like to cause issues right on that street over there. And I remember we've had crazy shit, man. We've had there was a Chinese lady in tennis gear with a tennis racket just attacking cars
Where'd she get tennis gear
I
from?
don't know. But I had a guy one time. I'm in traffic. I shit you not. I'm in fucking traffic trying to turn, and this dude's sitting there in a wheelchair. In traffic in the turn lane, and he's like trying to turn out into traffic.
Oh yeah, that's right out there by the Children's Museum in downtown.
No, this is in West Omaha. Maybe that's a different one.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, no, this is in West Omaha. But this guy, like, he's on a wheelchair and he's trying to turn out into traffic with his just riding his wheelchair with traffic. And I'm like, I called 911. I'm like, dude, this guy's gonna get himself killed, or hurt somebody else. And they're like, I called him, and the operator's like, can you say that again, sir? And I'm like, yes, he's riding his wheelchair with traffic as if it were a motorized vehicle. That's like,
I'm surprised that didn't end up on like the Omaha scan, like
it
Main Streets.
It was
Omaha.
It was back when it was Mean Streets. It wound up on there. It did wind up on there. That was
that's hilarious, dude.
I wound up on 89.7 The River talking about it one time too. So,
really?
Yeah, talking about like craziest stories in traffic. But yeah, no, it's crazy. That hotel is fucking wild, man. Like they'll have people, they go up and rob that Buc-ee's almost monthly or weekly. And that like one Buc-ee's cashier just got tired of it, just started beating the shit out of him with a cash register.
With the register?
It was something attached to it, like the cash tray or something like that.
Oh my god, dude.
He was on the news. He's like, I'm just tired of it.
I will say, and I think I've seen this on an episode before, like my ex-mother. There's a fucking car wash across the street, and some guy owns like a Mustang that drives really loud all the time. But no, my ex-mother-in-law that used to work at she's worked at gas stations her entire life. But she's like in multiple cities too, and she's like, dude, I've never seen the amount of rat shit at Omaha gas stations at any other city of gas stations I've worked.
Yeah, well, and what's shitty is when, like, you know, you can say, oh, it's just their money, it's just the company's money, whatever. What's shitty is a lot of the times, because you know those registers only keep like $75, right? They don't keep a bunch of cash in them, so. Yeah. A lot of the time, these dudes show up to fucking rob these gas stations and they don't get what they want. And now they want your phone and your money. So it's like, you probably get tired of getting robbed and shit. You know, person can only get pushed so much before they just snap. And, you know, it was funny because it was one of those guys that like puts his hand under the shirt, like clearly doesn't have a gun. And the guy just called his bluff and beat the fuck out of him. He was just done.
What ended up happening to him?
Well, the robber got arrested. The guy got like a slot on like KTV News, and they like made him like a month or some shit like that.
Yeah, dude. That's funny.
Don't fuck with my gas station. Fuck off. He was having a bad day.
That's funny, man. So, I think that's about. We
should probably wrap it up. I gotta go eat.
Same.
And I gotta get other stuff ready for a show we're working on. So,
yeah.
October 29th, I'll post the link in the description on the audio and video. October 29th, we got Night of the Laughing Dead at Wired Pub. We start that at 9. It's $8 at the door. But if you click the link I got on Eventbrite, you can get an online ticket for $5, and plus the fees and taxes or whatever. It evens out. You save like $2 on it.
Hey, that's a good deal.
So you can go on there. Yeah, it's fucking. You don't have to bring out cash and deal with that. So yeah, you go on to. I'll post the link in the description. You can go on there and you can get tickets in advance. Otherwise, come out and pay cash and shit. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna have like a costume party. We're gonna have like a costume contest for all the comics at the end. It's gonna be lit. We're pretty stacked for our lineup too. So I'm excited.
Hell yeah, man.
Fuck yeah. I think that's all I got, unless you got anything.
Nope, we should be good. We will definitely be doing an episode next week too.
Fuck yeah.
Dude, we've been really good about being consistent with the episodes.
Lately we have been, yeah. No, we've done a really good job lately. So
yeah, so
my ADHD consistency is not a strong point, but it has been thus far. So
I need to smoke more meth, man. I gotta more medical
cocaine,
meth.
crack, medicinal methamphetamines.
Yeah.
All right, peace the fuck out, y'all.
Deuces, everyone.